Hey everybody, it's Phil Bruce here, and in today's video I just want to talk about flexibility and how being flexible and having good range of motion helps with so many things. So talking about things like performance, training, health, say everyday active everyday living, loads of those things. So flexibility, why is it important? So if we're flexible, that's sort of with an easy main point. So if we're flexible, we're able to get more range of motion. So we're able to cover more area. We're able to, for example, if I was playing football, if I've got good flexibility, I could get more range of motion on my kicking. So if I'm trying to kick a football, I can get more range of motion, get more power, and be able to kick it further and harder. So that's a great example with that one. If I've got good flexibility when it comes to training and exercise, so let's say running. So if I'm sprinting and I've got good levels of flexibility in my hips, in my leg, in my back, my arms, I'm able to get more of a sprinting motion going with the arms, with the legs, keeping good posterior kind of strength and range of motion as well, which will help me to run faster and help me to run for longer, but especially running faster, just getting more range to allow the muscles to work in, as I say, more range and work harder and just cover more ground. If I've got good flexibility, let's go to weight training. So say I've got good flexibility in my shoulders, especially the front of the shoulders, and I'm doing a bench press. I've got good flexibility in my arms. I'm able to get the weight down right towards the shoulders without feeling a lot of strain and pain on my shoulders, without challenging that in regards to range of motion. Again, if I'm thinking about my back, if I'm doing a bent over row and I've got a good range of motion, I'm able to bend over even more while I'm doing the movement, which will again allow more of a specific target on my back, and it'll allow my back to get more work, to get more stimuli, to get better results. So again, that's an easy way to look at it based on performance. You could look at it as an essential to reduce the likelihood or the opportunity of getting injuries, and especially repetitive injuries, because if our muscles are nice and supple, if we've got good range of motion in them, again, it just means that there's less chance of pulling a muscle. So, for example, let's go to hamstrings and back. So if I've got good hamstrings, so hamstrings at the back of the legs, and I've got good lower back flexibility, and I'm trying to touch my toes, and I can keep my legs straight and keep my form, keep my technique right. So if I'm trying to touch the floor, it could be picking something up, it could be just doing a stretch. By having the good range of motion and flexibility, it allows me A, to get to the target area and touch and get the stretch or pick the thing up, and B, it means that the hamstrings won't pull, the back won't pull, and they'll get a lot less likely to be injured and to strain on that. Again, if I'm thinking of the weight training, like I've talked about, with the bench press, or it could be a bicep curl, shoulder press, whatever the movement is, if the muscles are nice and loose, which, yes, you would do a nice warm-up to help to get the synovial fluid going, but if we're getting good range of motion, good flexibility within the muscles and the joints and the areas, it'll put down the opportunity and the risk of injury. So if I'm doing a shoulder press and I can go all the way up and then all the way down because the muscles are nice and loose, I've got less chance of pulling a shoulder muscle. You see it quite often in sports such as football and rugby. You used to see it a lot more than what you kind of in the past, because how the training was back then, but you do still see it now. Footballers tend to get quite a few hamstring injuries, quadriceps a bit more hamstrings, again because like I talked about before, if they're kicking a football and the hamstrings working and they're putting power out, putting force on, if the muscles are tight because they're doing a lot of running, a lot of kicking, a lot of leg strength training, then there's a good opportunity or an increased and improved opportunity of pulling the muscle and getting a hamstring pull, or at least a hamstring tear. And I have been there before. It is not a nice thing to have done to you. So there's so much that can help with the reduce chance of getting an injury if you've got good flexibility within there. Talking about another one which is quite important is your active daily living, so it's an ADL. What I mean by that is if I'm nice and flexible and I've got good range of motion in my muscles and my joints and I can move, I can do more things without getting an injury. So again, it could be bending to put some socks on. It could be reaching, I don't know, if I'm putting the washing outside, it could be reaching up to get the washing line and I've got nice, loose and flexible back and shoulder and arm muscles there. It could be picking stuff up like you're shopping, carrying the shopping. If I've got a nice, good range of motion, I am able to do those with more quality. I am able to actually do them. I'm able to not pick up as many injuries like I talked about before, but it just allows me to do more things every single day, especially as I'm getting older, because when you're getting older, and say your performance, your muscles, your bone density, your flexibility, all that decrease naturally with age. So we need to keep on top of that. But if I'm able to keep a good level of flexibility, it just allows me to do so many more things in my everyday life. And an easy one is talking about improved performance, like we've said, where if I've got more range of motion, I'm able to do more things. I'm able to lift further and deeper, more range of motion. I'm able to sprint quicker. I'm able to get more range of motion when I'm trying to do my stretching. So I'm able to, as I say, allow the muscles to be stretched more. I'm getting more of a stretch on more of the muscle groups. So there's quite a few reasons why, as I say, flexibility is really important. And I think a good way to finish this video off is talking about ways that we can improve flexibility. So we could do the main kind of one really is static stretching. So all static stretching is basically stretching and keeping the motion still. It's just allowing the muscles to go from that and to open up. So again, classic ones for the hamstring, so sitting down hamstring ones, stand up hamstring. Got quadriceps, again, sitting, standing, lying down. I know I've talked about in previous videos about if I'm stretching one group, so the agonist, I'm then stretching the other one, the antagonist, to help balance the both out and to get joy for both of the muscle groups, that and the opposite muscle group. But what I would recommend is, say, there's loads of stretches that you can find online, or if you want to message me, I'll give you some stretches, that's absolutely fine. But if you're wanting to increase your range of motion, we're looking at what's called developmental stretching. So what that basically means is you are holding each stretch for about 15 to 30 seconds without bouncing. That's a pet hate of mine, by the way, when you see bouncing, because what you're doing there is you're doing that with a muscle and you've got a better chance or a more likely chance of creating an injury from it. So keep the stretch nice and still. Stretch to the maximum range that you're comfortable and that is safe and healthy. But hold the stretch for 30 seconds, because up to 30 seconds, because you're allowing the muscle to go from that to loosen up. So I'd probably do 30 seconds of stretch. I'd probably look at a couple of stretches per muscle group. Again, I don't think you need to be dramatic in the sense of having to fit it in every single day. It could be a thing to try and fit in your training. So once or twice a week to start off with, give yourself 15 or 20 minutes. Can be done at the gym, in the studio, at home, let's say literally in the living room, bedroom, whatever you feel comfortable with. And just get some good stretching done. And I'd probably look to do that at the end of the day to begin with. After you've worked your muscles, it's just a nice way to then relax and get ready for your evening and get ready to go to bed. But yeah, it's a very easy way of helping your range of motion. What you could also do is your steam rooms, your saunas. Again, it's just getting the heat to the muscles. It's just allowing better circulation to the muscles, and it'll just help, as I say, just to get the muscles kind of stimulated to allow you to get that increased range of motion. Because if the muscles are nice and warm, then it's easier to get a further stretch in comparison to when you're cold, because the muscles are tighter, they're more resistant when it's cold. So there are two classic ways of doing it. You can maybe look at using a foam roller as well, just to loosen out the myofascial tissue. Just as I say, you kind of get tightness in certain muscle groups, like I get it in my back and my hamstrings, for example, and it's just using a foam roller and then potentially stretch afterwards, just so you've released the myofascial tissue and then you've stretched the muscles to a decent range of motion as well. I'd probably try and keep the room nice and warm wherever you're stretching too. But yeah, if you can try and add that to your everyday exercise, well, not everyday exercise, but if you can add that to your routine, if you do want to do a little bit of stretching every day for the certain muscle groups that you've stretched, you can do. So for example, if I've done a legs day, I could look to do some leg stretching in the evening. If I've done an arms day, I could look at doing arms and chest and back. So, you know, that can be done if you want to do it that way, but you don't have to do it every day. Just try and start getting it into your training, your routine. So yeah, I hope you found that useful. I hope you can kind of get a kind of grip and an understanding of why flexibility and having good range of motion is helpful for exercise performance, but most importantly, everyday activity and reducing injury. Yeah, I found that quite a fascinating topic because so many people don't do it and they suffer due to it as a consequence. But yeah, I hope you found that beneficial. As always, hope you're having a great week so far. Sending all of my love and best wishes to you, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video. But until then, bye for now.